All right, Grizz Nation, we are back, and this is week one, man. We have a game day this week, so thank you for listening, guys. You guys can get us at anywhere where you get podcasts. So rate, review, and subscribe there. Also, you guys can watch us on YouTube. You can see these beautiful mugs on there on the FCS Nations podcast network. There's a whole lot of great podcasts out there. There's a Jackrabbit. There's a Eastern Washington. They have their national podcast as well. So definitely go check everything out. Give us a listen. Give us a 5-star rating. We need those for all the algorithm things that I don't get. So definitely get us there. What we have in store for you guys is we're going to, before we get into Missouri State, we're going to do a Grizz rundown. We're going to go over some rule changes. Go into our defensive side of the ball, which we didn't get to last week because we did some offense last week, and then we'll break down Missouri State. So before we get into everything, guys, Luke, how are you, man?
Doing pretty dang well today. Yeah, excited to talk about football. And I spent last week in Missoula, got to catch some practice, saw Pearl Jam.
Nice.
Wish I could have stayed longer and caught some more practice. Got to see the new practice field before the bubble's up. It looks awesome. The band was on there practicing both days I was by there, but yeah, it's going to be real nice to have that come this late winter. Fall and going into the winter time too, for sure. Well, and so it's nice right now what the team's able to use it, even though the bubble isn't on it, because the Pearl Jam concert was going on. The team was able to practice over there and stuff and use it too, which it actually surprised me that they made them practice on there, because I'm like, they're practicing on Dorm Blazer anyways, so but it's possible that they were using maybe the locker room facilities, because I know if anybody's seen it, Pearl Jam took a picture of the set list with the Grizz script above it after the concert, and they were obviously using the Champion Center for part of the Pearl Jam concert and stuff too.
That's
so the other side of that was really cool. Lead singer Pearl Jam Eddie Vedder wished the Grizz a really good season this year at the end of the concert, which prompted a few Cat fans that were obviously in the audience to yell "Go Cats," which myself and a bunch of other people screamed FTC back to them. So yeah, try to put them back in their place, stupid Cat fans. But yeah, it's just excited to talk about football, man. I can't wait this back.
Oh man. Well, let's get into this so we can get to the football. But Grizz rundown, guys. If you have not heard, we have a really good soccer team.
Yeah, we do.
The last time when we talked, they had beaten Oregon State 3-0 in Missoula. They went over to Pullman, and they just did not have it that game. They lost 0-3 on that one. They came back and they played MSUB. They beat them Sunday 2-0. And so they are headed their way this Thursday to Fresno, California. And believe you can, it doesn't say that you can watch that game. But then they come home, they come home and they play IU Indy, which I have no clue who that is, but Indiana University, Indy probably. But
yeah, I think they're just located right there in Indianapolis.
Yeah. And then they've got some away games. They go to Air Force in Colorado Springs, and then they play Wyoming and Laramie, and come back to play North Dakota in Boise State. And so, guys, yeah, definitely, if you guys can make it to a women's Grizz soccer game, it is it's awesome to watch. Those girls are really good. We've got a really, really, really lucky that we have the team that we have and the coaches we have there. So definitely go support them. So,
heck yeah.
Let's see. I don't think there's any other sports playing right now. I know volleyball should be.
They're starting, I believe.
They are starting. Yeah, I'm trying to get there.
I think they've got. I think they got a tournament coming up or something here. I saw. The day before the concert, I went and took my daughter on a tour of the university because she's considering going there, and toured the theater department. We went down the Champions Hall.
Nice.
Always love putting out my picture in there and stuff. The girls' volleyball was practicing, and we walked by two of them, and it made me feel short. I'm 6'2", and I was like, oh my gosh, Like we got some tall girls on our volleyball team this year, which is always good to see.
Always good. So they are at the Grand Canyon Invitational down in Phoenix, Arizona. So they'll play the likes of Friday. They'll play Grand Canyon. That's on ESPN Plus. So
Cool.
they'll play Fresno State on Saturday. They'll play Oregon State on Sunday. And then they'll come back home to Dahlberg and play Carroll College as an exhibition. So
very nice.
And then they're on to the Eliason Invitational down. Well, it's in Missoula, or they'll play the likes of Utah Valley, Southern Miss, Boise State.
I'll have to watch that Southern Miss game. My wife is an alumni from Southern Miss. So.
Oh, she is really? Awesome. So yeah, definitely some and all those you guys can check on ESPN Plus. So definitely go check some women's volleyball. And I'm just searching here for more. I think that's it. Yeah, that's about
got
it.
One little piece of Grizz news that not the greatest thing, but Gubbs got waived earlier today by the Chiefs, which was a bummer. But he had a really good preseason, I thought. I mean, there's some good highlights and stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't get picked up. Or, sometimes when they do these waves, you end up on the practice squad too. Yeah. I still think Gubbs has got a shot, but that just popped up here just a little bit ago, so I thought I'd just bring that up. So
when he had it, he had a good what you said, but I'm surprised that he didn't make it because some of the highlights he had were really good.
Yeah, I was surprised too. And it's hard because you only get the 53-man roster spots. So, but that's when they try to keep those, especially when you play well, they try to keep you on the practice squad just in case sort of thing. But it'll be interesting because when you have a preseason like that, there's other teams that need somebody and
definitely
could be going after him. So
even after the first week, though, there's injuries and stuff like that. So you never know. You got to keep going so your number's called. So
exactly.
So one of the things that we wanted to talk about before we go into things is some rule changes that I know that you said, Luke, you saw in that week 0, as we say.
Yeah.
And so some things that we might see this weekend to let everybody know about those.
Yeah, I thought it would be just good to kind of break it down a little bit because there are some new rules for the 2024 season that affect FCS and FBS. Actually, Frank Gagola at 406 MT Sports had a nice breakdown of it online. And so just wanted to give him some credit because I went on there and read about it and he did a good job. But the first thing is the use of tablets or iPads during games to review videos. All FCS teams can do this. They are restricted to in-game film only, so of the current game you're on. So you can't have like extra film, in the middle of the season, you couldn't have like another game film on there. You're only allowed to watch that film. The video angles that are going to be included are the coach's sideline, the coach's feed, so like the all 22, the end zone feed, and anything from the television or streaming program too.
Oh, wow.
So that thought went in my head. I was like, some of these road games, the film crew isn't near as good. So hopefully, that could affect things.
Especially with like some of the ESPN Plus games, does that help Big Sky Conference teams? Because some of the other conferences, I just speak to the CAA, they're horrible.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because you're still going to get that all 22 footage and the end zone footage because every team does that. But that in-game television footage, where we might be showing replays, they can see all that stuff.
So if there's like
good footage,
if there's like a review, can they be reviewing it on the sidelines to say, hey, we want to challenge this?
You technically could, yeah, because you can use any current in-game footage.
Wow.
The thing I don't know is like how quickly they're getting that footage. Like, is there a delay? Like, but the goal here is that they'll be able to see like let's say we punt and the offense sits down there. We'll see the footage from the last drive and see like what they did there and try to make adjustments and stuff. That's the whole goal behind it. So it's going to be a lot like we see on the NFL. The big difference there is like, so the NFL, it's not video, it's still pictures. Even on those iPads, it's just still pictures. This is all video, so they'll actually be able to like stream it back and forth and see the play develop and undevelop. So that's going to make it interesting. With the tablets, we're allowed to have 18 total. And out of those 18, some tablets can be in the coaching booth, the sideline, or even in the locker room. You could bring them back to the locker room. So during halftime, you can use those tablets to coach your team up and make adjustments. So that's a big change there. So the other thing with these tablets, it says that they can't include any data or data access capabilities or like analytics or other communications. So it's just that footage only. So you can't have like analytic software. Like I know for our work, I use Power BI software to break down analytics for Windows, which you wouldn't believe we do, but we do. And so it's like they can't have any of that stuff on there. So you're not using metrics. You can just use it for basically look at the film, go back and forth. The other thing about these tablets is you can't connect them to like a larger device. Like I know I take my phone and connect it to my like laptop or like my TV to watch like ESPN Plus if I'm camping or something. Well, you can't do that. You can only use that tablet to look at, so they can pass it around or just hold it up to the group. So you can't do that. So that's the big tablet thing. But wanted to let people know about that in case you see them on the sidelines. Like, oh, it looks like the NFL out there.
One question I would have is, how are they making those secure? Because with all the things that happened at Michigan, like, could you hack into somebody else's iPads and see what they're watching so that
that's one of these things with today's technology. I mean, like you get a good enough hacker, I'm sure someone could. And so
crazy,
with this, with great power comes great responsibility. It just gives that one more level of someone's going to cheat. They are. Everybody's looking for that one up. So I mean, that's the thing, is that who's going to regulate it? It didn't really say much about, but there's got to be somewhere in the NCAA that regulating or checking the tablets before the game, or maybe the refs are. I'm not sure, but it's new. And the Grizz are accepting it. Like there's going to be some teams that won't do it. Maybe they don't have the funds for it either. But we will be doing that. One thing that you're not going to see in the FCS level that you will see in FBS is the helmet communications. They're going to allow that in FBS. They have not done that for FCS, so that's still not an FCS thing. But if you're watching, the FBS teams, you'll see the little green sticker like they do in the NFL. And those quarterbacks, like if you see them doing this, it's because they can hear for 15 seconds that play. That is not the case in FCS, except for if we were playing an FBS team, then you have that option. North Dakota State's playing Colorado. If they wanted to, they could have that. South Dakota State's playing Oklahoma State. I think they could have. If you're going up that level, you can have the same references. But I think a lot of those teams, since they can't use it throughout the season anyways, they're like, no, why do something different? We're going to keep our.
Is that technology given out by the NCAA, or is that something that the university has to pay for?
I'm guessing for those games that the NCAA makes it fair. So, because it said in there that like if you're playing an FBS team, you'll have the option to use that technology if you want. So, it may be the other team has to allow you the technology. That equal play. You've seen it too in like games where if one sideline loses their headsets, they make the other side so they don't have an advantage, not use their headset too. So it's that same type of. So that was not that big a deal. But another one that we'll notice is the 2-minute warning that you've seen in the NFL is now in the college game. We will have at the end of the second and fourth quarter, at the 2-minute mark, there'll be a 2-minute warning for media break or whatever. It's the 2-minute warning.
So those are at the end of the halves, right?
Yep. So at the end of the second quarter, the end of the fourth quarter, you'll have a 2-minute warning, just like you see in the NFL. Now, when you're done with that 2-minute warning, there'll only be 25 seconds on the play clock as soon as they come out of that. So you got 25 seconds to get your play off, which should be more than enough time because you just had basically a timeout.
Yeah.
And the game clock will then start on the snap of the ball. So that's the second big change that's happening. And the last change, which I think is going to be really beneficial to us, is countable coaches is what they call it. Mm-hmm. So in the years past, we've had our defense and offensive analysts on the game day. They couldn't be anywhere around the game.
Yeah.
Well, now they can. They can be on the sideline. They can be in the box. wherever. They could be coaching and stuff. So we got Mike Hudson and Scott Linehan that are both now extra coaches basically during that day. They can help, whether they're going to put them in the box or put them down on the sideline. I don't know yet, but they'll be helping actually coach during game day, which is very cool. I mean, I always thought it was kind of weird that you could be an analyst, but you couldn't do anything that day. It's like, here, go watch in the stands. It's like, so I think that rule was a long time coming, but those are the rule changes that just wanted to make sure everybody who listens knew about before game day this Saturday. So
that's awesome. Those are good ones. I'm glad that we don't have, and I guess this is just my point of view, the new NFL kicking rule. I just hate that. I think it's so stupid.
Saw during the presser today, I don't know if you caught it.
I haven't yet been able to yet.
I can't remember who asked. One of the reporters asked Bobby if he'd seen it yet and what he thought of it. And I was all excited because Bobby's a big special teams guy.
Oh yeah, he probably hates it.
I haven't seen it. Know what you're talking about. I was like, oh man. I was really hoping to get his opinion and hear his opinion on it, but he apparently hasn't seen it yet. So,
well, I mentioned. I think I heard him talk to Riley that he said that it's something that he'll look at probably at the end of the year to see how it went, because usually what happens is the NFL tries it out, and if it works, it gets passed down to the NCAA. Yeah. And so he says it looks kind of stupid, but it'll
be interesting. I was more skeptical when I first saw it, but because I thought you wouldn't have very exciting run back plays, but it's been the opposite. It's really changing the game a lot. So it'll be interesting, like you just said. To see at the end of the year, does the NFL still like it, and will college take it on? Because
exactly
it rolls downhill. So,
well, let's get into some defense, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's start at the defensive end position. Guys, we have some great guys coming back. Hayden Harris is coming back on the defensive end position. We've got Andrus Learman, transfer out of Youngstown State. And then Tyson Simmons, he's a 3-star. I have a hard time having him count as a freshman, but he came from Navy Prep. And so from Basha High School, he went to Navy Prep last year. So those are our defensive ends that I saw. Did you see anything else? Because we're really heavy on the defensive line, but I really think that only having 3 so-called defensive ends, that they're going to start flipping some of those defensive lines and using them as defensive ends.
Yeah, and so I agree with you on that, because when I was watching practice, the D line was stunting a lot and moving around, especially interior. And so I think, even when we haven't listed this D line, like some of these guys are, like Dylan Smith, he's a redshirt junior, D line, 6'4", 248. That's more DN size to me. And so I think you've got more of your nose tackle, like Gubbs would be, was to us last year. And then the other 2 are like that DN spot. The other thing that, we got to look at too is we are running that 3-3-5, but it's a hybrid where we bring linebackers down and also make it a forefront and things like that. And so, I think we have enough D linemen that are going to be rotating around a lot, and that's what's going to happen. In that I just look at DN spot. So
I like that Mate Mataafa, from that Mississippi State, and I think he kind of slowly got himself into last year. I think you could see him at defensive end as well.
And he's listed at 6'1", 231. I mean, when I think D line, like when I played, I mean, it was like I remember they're like, you need to be 280 minimum. I'm like, okay, I mean, it was like because your job is to stuff the run. So
So a lot of kind of guys, and then you've got your Kellen Dietrich. He's probably 6'2", 250. That kind of in between kind of weight wise, but.
And we've got Noose listed as D line, and it's like he plays. I feel like more of that traditional DN spot.
So defensive line guys. This is who we have: Kellen Dietrich, Jake Mason. He's that transfer from Washington. Noah Cashman is back. Jared Ramos is back. Jackson Tucker. This is the guy that I've been really hearing a lot about. And it's kind of weird because when he first committed, I was like, oh, we got a running back. But RB Wilson, he is a transfer from College of Canyons.
Yeah.
I've heard he is legit. And if he can get
So-
healthy, he's going to show out.
So I got a text from someone earlier today that they heard that RB was killing it during camp.
That's
and
what
one
I've
practice
heard.
had like 4 sacks, like just wrecking havoc in the backfield. So
Yeah. I've heard he is a man child. So Sloan McPherson, Brandon Murphy, Dylan Smith, Henry Noose, Mata Afa, and then we've got Pat Hayden, the transfer from Monmouth. That is pretty much, I think he's probably slated for that nose.
Yeah, I saw him playing in camp. He looked good. He's quick. He was stunting around a lot. He got good pad level. He's keeping nice and low. So they just the one practice I watched, our D line, and we'll get him to a second, our linebackers, they were working well together and moving quickly.
That's awesome.
Like that was the thing I just kept like telling myself, like, God, we look fast on defense. Like,
yeah,
really fast on defense, which is always good, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, with that amount of defensive ends, defensive lines, I think that's something that we kind of went after this year is getting more depth there. And you can kind of see that with who we brought in as well. So, which is always nice because I think that last year we were so relying on Gubner there. And, a lot of our backups there got hurt. I know Cashmere had gotten hurt. Noose had gotten hurt. And so Ramos, I think, had gotten hurt a little bit as too. So it's always good to have some backup there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Cashman or Noose can do with full seasons.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the young talent, like hopefully we can start playing some of these younger guys. And we have that 4-game rule. Let's use some of those guys in the early part of the season, even those. I really feel like we're going to have our offense is going to be better than what we've had, that we're going to have a lot of one-sided games where we're going to start using some of these guys that are further down the depth chart. I just feel that because our offense is we've got a lot of firepower there.
We have a lot of talent there. And I think you're absolutely right when you say that. Cause like if our goal is to go to the national championship, which that's our goal. I mean, we know that's our goal.
Yep.
You need to play a lot of guys because you want to keep guys healthy and then you want to get them experience. And that's one of the great things about like last year when we went to the national championship. We got all these extra practices and stuff. So we're already ahead of the game, getting people experience. And so, I mean, the more guys we can rotate through, the better.
Exactly.
And we have the talent to do it, it feels like.
So. We have the talent. And it's not in just one place either. It's in all areas. That's why I'm just like, this is the one that I'm excited for. The cornerbacks, right? Let's go into the cornerbacks. You've got Ronald Jackson. You've got Prince Ford. You've got Kenzel Lawler, Trevin Gradney. You've got Elijah Brady, Keon Loud, Tanner Huff, and Garrett Spear, which, if you look at it, some of those guys I don't think are going to get some playing time. They might a little bit, but I look at it and I say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys out of the 8 that you could probably see getting time.
Yeah.
And you never know with maybe people getting hurt that you might see all 8 of those guys. And a lot of those guys are legit guys that might be starting somewhere else.
Well, think about that. Like if you can get let's say it was even 6, a 6-man rotation going, they can have fresh legs constantly out there.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, what that does for us, I mean, that's just huge on defense.
Yeah.
And being able to get to the ball quickly and just, I mean, it's exciting to see what we got there at corner. And it's going to be a fight for those all to get playing time, which is a great thing for the team. So
it is. I think iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Let's go into linebackers. Did you have anything on the cornerbacks? Anything more?
No, I'm just so, I was always a big fan of Justin Ford.
Yeah.
He was just great. I loved him out on the field and stuff. And I'm excited to see Prince and see what he can do. I've got a feeling he's going to do some good things for us. I hear he loves to talk smack, so
I like his brother.
Yeah, his brother. When you're on defense, you should be able to talk a little smack.
Oh my gosh!
But if you're going to talk, you got to back it up. So, the other thing that I guess is exciting for me with the corners, with having this many good corners, is someone going to progress where they're going to shut down that side of the field like we've seen?
Yep.
But with that, because we have so many good ones and fresh legs, I expect to see a lot of turnovers, like us getting to the ball, making plays, and doing that. It seems like each year we get that person. Ford was it? Gradney last year all of a sudden's getting picks. So maybe they're going to lay off throwing to Gradney, and maybe Ronald Jackson, he's going to start being a ball hawk. But our defense to be run, is very advantageous for our cornerbacks to make some picks and stuff. So that'll be exciting.
Linebackers, man, we've got some dudes on this group.
Reload, baby.
Yeah, Viacao transfer from San Diego State. I have heard he is legit.
That's number 0, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I forgot who that was when I was watching practice, and all of a sudden 0's out there blowing people up, and I was like, "Okay, who's this guy?" So I had my roster out. Oh yeah, that's that Viacao. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Glad we got him on our team now. So
yeah, he is a guy that I can't wait to see. Another one that played with him at San Diego State is that Caleb Altowiski. He was their scout team player of the year.
Nice.
And so he is 6'4", 235.
What number is he?
I do not know. I do not have that up on me, but I was amazed how big he was.
6'4" is a tall linebacker.
6'4", 235. That's a big guy.
Yeah.
And so, and then being the scout team player of the year just knows that he can put in that work. And so that's exciting as well. So
that was Caleb, right? Yeah. He's number 45.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6'4", 235. Yeah.
Dang. Isaiah Childs, I can't wait to see him light up some guys. I'm so proud that he can actually get on the field as well. So for his
he got voted a captain too. I thought that was awesome. I mean, that shows a lot right there.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Geno Leonard, I had heard he was going to get a lot more playing time last year, and then I believe he had an injury too. So good to see him back. Marcus Evans, and then Cooper Barnum. I've heard he's probably in that 2 depth as well there. Riley Wilson, which, from all accounts, he grew so much last year, and a lot is going to be expected of him this year. So Ryan Tiro, which is going to same with Riley, right? He's the guy there. He's going to be expected to produce, and can't wait to see what he does. So
and that's the other person that really stood out when I was watching practice was Terrell. He was in the backfield constantly barking out stuff to the team. I mean, he looks like a leader out there. I was really impressed with him. So
that's awesome.
I expect big things out of him this year.
Yeah. Eric Osteen, Cy Stevenson. We've got Cooper Walton. And then one that's awesome. I know I was texting Luke. I was like, I don't see Garrett Houston on here. Like, what did I miss something? He went from defensive end to linebacker.
Yep.
And so playing kind of more what he's used to from when he transferred from Nebraska. So that's awesome that he gets to play that position that he's wanted to.
Though, at that linebacker, it makes you wonder, will they rotate him down to that defensive end spot, where we can play that 4-man front when we need to. And I think that's what we're going to see is more of that hybrid stuff too. So,
you got Clay Oven and then Hayden Opitz on the linebackers. So you can kind of see that, you've got your old guys, not old guys, but your mature guys in there. And then you've got some younger guys they're kind of developing and getting ready for that next push. It'll be really interesting to see. And I know we've already said this, but it's what good teams do, right? Mm-hmm. It's what San Diego, goodness gracious, South Dakota State, North Dakota State, I know it's what the neighbors do in their practices because I've heard a lot of it is that they kind of switch people up in their practices to see kind of that development of those linebackers as well. So
well, that's why linebacker you, baby.
that's right. So and I really don't worry about that because it's linebacker you, right?
Yeah, I mean it's one of those spots every year. I mean, we lose some great names and like amazing people, and I was like, oh boy, what are we getting? Oh, we're fine. Like it's I mean, we just reload it back up. But there's that expectation, I think, in that linebacker room that when those seniors leave, it's like, hey, you got to step up. You can't let this go. We are linebacker you. So
safety. We've got Dane Parker, who is a transfer from Air Force Prep. I don't know if you can really call him a transfer. I think can you do that? It's a prep school, so it's not a transfer.
Yeah,
but they don't get all. I think they get as a. Don't they come in as a red shirt though?
Something like that. Yeah, it's almost like a JUCO or something.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know how that one works, but yeah.
We have Cash Gokachia.
I've
been practicing that name.
Well, I stopped by a bar I used to work at, the Bodega in Missoula, and I just looked up and was like, oh yeah, his dad Gokachia's got his jersey up in that bar still. So
that's awesome.
That was funny. I was like, I wonder if his son will come in here and be like, oh, there's dad's jersey. So
we've got Krishan Gordon. He's a transfer from Fresno State. You have TJ Roush, Gabe Longin, Ryder Meyer, which is going to have an awesome season this year. Owen Reynolds, Cade Boyd, Chase McGurran, Patrick Lang, Jackson Lee. You've got Cade Cutler, who's the transfer from the neighbors, I believe. And then Tyson Rosset and Jace Kusowicz.
Yep.
So,
we said this last week. Bobby got interviewed, and he was like, that's the one position group I'm not worried about. He never says things like that. So
when you just go down,
and
I believe Jace got some time, I believe at cornerback last year, didn't he?
I think so.
So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that I see on there that have had some time on the field.
Yeah. We've got good depth again. I mean, like that's great to see that we have this depth right now in all these positions because it's going to help keep everybody fresh. Like, rotate them through. The best teams do that. You don't just, when you have just a few really good players and you have to rely on them the whole time, well, they're going to get tired, and that's when guys can get hurt and stuff. And so, the fact that we have depth is huge for us, especially if we want to make runs. So,
I know that's I'm going to get into the kicking game just because we're not the neighbors that had lost games because of their kicking. But it's always good to kind of go over that just in case you don't have a kicker. So Ty Morrison, he's a transfer out of the College of Canyons, kind of where we had gotten RB Wilson, same college. Then we have Brayton Boyer. He walked on, I believe, last spring, earned a spot, but his dad is actually a special teams coach for the Jets.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so that's kind of where I think we'll see what he does. We've got Joe Silver, which is, if he does not have an NIL for like something pirate, man, that needs to happen. Right? Joe Silver?
Oh, yeah.
He's a transfer from Kent State.
Brian Toon should have him on the Jewelry Center. You can go, come down to the Jewelry Center, get your silver.
There you go. That'd be awesome too. And then we got Grant Glasgow. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens because who's gonna be kicking?
3 kickers through at practice. And
really?
Yeah, they were all making them. There was, I can't remember, one of them missed 2, but I can't remember which one that was. So
yeah, I would expect probably Glasgow and Morrison for sure.
Yeah.
And then I don't know where that third one would be, but who's going to be taking those punting, right?
I've been hearing Morrison might be the punter. So
punter, okay, and maybe Grant Glasgow would be the kicker. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see that.
Well, we'll find out on Saturday. So
that is right. Which, yes, I'll find out.
Hopefully, we don't see who our punter is, but
yeah,
find out who the kicker is.
Yeah. Oh man, well that's all I got for that, guys. I know that was kind of a rundown, but it was just there's no really film to break down, and we've got so many new kind of guys and guys that we haven't really seen that it's kind of good to know who we have, and just the depth we have is so crazy. I'm just excited. It's so exciting.
I want to surprise you with something that I just thought of. We hadn't talked about this before, so
okay.
Going off script here.
Okay.
You can think about it too when we break down Missouri State, but I'm wondering who your breakout player of the year is going to be for defense and offense.
Okay, I gotta write that down.
So
defense and
I'm bringing
offense?
it up now. We'll talk about it at the end of the pod. We'll each who we think we did this last year.
Yeah, we did.
And so one player that you think is going to be like breakout or like the big on either side of the ball. So
and I have a surprise for you too, Luke.
Okay,
I've got over and unders for you as well for the end of the season.
Very nice. I haven't said that yet. I'm excited.
I forgot about it. I had them written down here. I totally forgot to tell you.
I love that. That's awesome. So all right.
Yes. And now I'm just like,
All right. Well, I got one more plug to give out.
Okay.
For those of you guys or everybody watching on YouTube, you can see I'm wearing the Blackout shirt. Yes. So it is the Blackout game against Missouri State. They're playing in the evening. Just wanted to let everybody know you can go get these at Shields, University Athletics, or the M Store. And if you want one and you're not in town, you can actually go online and they'll ship it right to you too. So
that's awesome.
I won't actually be at the game, but I was in Shields and saw these. And I was like, well, I can't not have a Blackout shirt. So you can see it's the state of Montana with Washington Grizz behind it. And the silver is actually kind of sparkly.
That is awesome.
Pretty
not
cool.
like your daughter's hat, though. Your
daughter's hat. Well, I'll bring that in.
That thing.
Those watching online, my daughter's got
close your eyes.
Kind of like shaded. It's this sparkly, like Grizz hat that's super silver. It's awesome. She loves it.
That is so cool. Oh man. Well, my thing is it's a Blackout, right? And I'm wondering, is this we get new helmets? Is it going to be black helmets, silver helmets? Like, what are we going to like?
Dude, that is the big question. I've been wondering the same thing. I'm like, I mean, so many people put those things out on Twitter last year, X, of the black helmets and how they could do it with like the paw or something.
Yeah.
Or
just like the state outline.
I'm so curious. Yeah. And I noticed that like a lot of the players and like coaches, they're wearing like the state of Montana with the Grizz script in it again. And so,
I love that one.
Come on, Kent. I'm like, hopefully he found the money and we got total Blackout. Like that was one thing people say, like, do the total Blackout next year. Black helmets, black jerseys, everything.
That would be so badass.
Well, and then what do you do with the face mask? Do you have like black helmet with like a white face mask or like a bright silver face mask, or do you go black helmet maroon or something? Metallic. So I don't know. There's a lot of pretty badass combinations that could happen. So I'm excited to see what'll happen there.
You do like the metallic, like the metallic face mask that we
that would be really awesome. Cool. Yeah, pretty sick.
All right. If money grew on trees, I'm still hoping for it though.
You get a lot of money when you make it to national championship games and stuff. So
you never know.
Things. Yeah, you never know. You never know.
So, guys, let's get into Missouri State.
Yeah.
Right. So some discrepancies. I know that 16. I asked Sam Herder because he knows more of the Mountain Missouri Valley Conference. He said 16 returning starters. I know, Luke, you've heard 19.
I heard 19. So somewhere between 16 and 19 returning starters is what we're hearing.
Okay. They've got 17 Division I transfers coming in this year. 12 of those are from the FBS.
Yep, I got 12 FBS, 5 FCS is what I saw as well. Yep.
And then guys, I know that they're in a transition from the FCS to the FBS. That's why that we're not going to be playing them. I think it was supposed to be next year.
So
playing them
yeah,
at theirs.
in 2026, actually,
Okay, there
we
you
were
go. I was
supposed to
way
go
off.
to Springfield, Missouri, and play them. And this is the part that I don't agree with, and I don't quite
No.
understand it. Maybe you do. They canceled the game on us because they're moving
Yeah.
up. Yet we have to pay them $150,000 for the cancellation. Yeah, we have to pay.
We have to pay them, but
Yeah.
they don't have to pay us.
Yes. Didn't make any sense to me. I looked it up multiple times. That's what it said, that we have to pay them $150,000. We owe them.
There's got to be a renege kind of thing where they have to pay us something for that, don't they?
Well, I wonder if, like, because our first home game, we're getting the funds or something. I don't know. I didn't make a lot of sense to me. I was actually going to try to message someone at the university to ask him if, what I read was right, because that's what I kept finding online. I even went to Missouri State's site, and they said too that the University of Montana has to pay us $150,000. I was like, this doesn't make any dang sense to me. So maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, and if not find the right information, let us know. Like, message me.
That's crazy.
But that's everything I found, said that we have to pay $150 in compensation for cancellation. And I'm like, but they canceled. That doesn't make sense. So
they canceled, and all they and you can tell me, guys, if you don't agree with this. I know why they canceled. They're going to be moving up to FBS, and they don't want to lose.
No,
they know they're going to lose.
Yeah, they don't want to lose to us.
No, they're gonna go up there and they're gonna lose to us in their FBS, and they're gonna get ashamed.
So, I for work, Missouri's part of my territory. I have some friends that are Missouri State alum and things like that, and the papers say like all the alum want them to move to FBS because everything else is Conference USA or whatever. People that live there are like, why are we doing this?
Yeah,
we can't get people to the games as it is. Like, why the heck would we move to FBS? It's like,
and aren't they going to Conference USA?
Yeah, Conference USA.
That is the grab bag of a conference that you can get to too.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously it's a money thing, but it's
my gosh,
stupid. So
like the travel in that league is ridiculous.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
It is ridiculous, but yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Guys, who is Missouri State? They last year were 4-7, 3-5 in the Missouri Valley. They are picked 9th in the preseason poll, I believe, out of 11 teams.
Yep.
I don't know how, but they got one first place vote. Because it's not.
I didn't see that. Wow.
I saw that. I went on the Missouri Valley Conference website, and they got one first place vote.
Riley gets a vote, right?
Yeah.
For us. Maybe it's their like color commentator, and he was like, no, we're number one.
Literally, it was literally like 42 for the Jackrabbits, 2 for NDSU, and then all the way down 1 for Missouri State.
Wow.
I was like, some homer voted for their team. I wouldn't even do that. If my team was Missouri State, I would not do that. Like,
no, and I guess that's what I was saying. Like when we were struggling a few years, Riley Karkin would say he had a vote. I remember him talking about it, like it was inside the den. He's like, yeah, I didn't put us as the first place vote. Like when he didn't think we were, he didn't.
Yeah.
Like, North Dakota State at the time, I think it was it. They're like, yeah, that's it. So yeah.
Interesting note. They do have 2 people on their team that transferred out of Montana. They have running back Iverson Young.
That's right.
That transferred out last year. And then they have he was a cornerback for us. He's a safety for them, Dylan Simmons. He was a transfer out of or a guy out of Louisiana. So those are the notable
Iverson
guys.
Young will be interesting because he should get some playing time.
He should.
I would think
he should get some, yeah.
Yeah, just to see, because he transferred, out of us, like right when we started our playoff run. It was really strange. Like I didn't quite understand that.
Yeah, it was like the week of a game and he transferred. So I don't know. I don't get that either. So let's go into some Missouri State numbers. These numbers are going to be really. I had to look at these again because they're not good. They're not good at all.
They were picked 9th for this year in the MVC.
Yeah.
You said. So, I mean, it's like.
Yeah. Well, these numbers last year were not good. So their points per game were 29, a little over 29. Their opponents were averaging a little over 30. Their rushing average was a little over 100, which was they got 12 touchdowns off of run. Their opponents were getting 173. Passing yards, they're over 300. Their opponents were getting 252. So even with their high passing, they're a little over 400, and their opponents were getting 425. Time of possession, they were 3 less minutes with the ball. Their third down percentage was about 43%. Their fourth down was 75%. They were in the red zone 40 times total. They were 35 of 40 from the red zone, but only 27 of those were actually touchdowns. And then compared to their opponent, 42 of the 46 from red zone, and 29 of those were touchdowns. So not very good defense and kind of stagnant offense, which they like to throw the ball last year.
Yeah.
And they kind of played 2 quarterbacks last year.
Part of that, one of them got hurt.
One of them got hurt, which he's healthy.
The one guy was here. He got, I think it was like the one guy got put in, beat out the starter, and then he got hurt. The other guy came back. But I think it's that guy that they like is going to be. Yeah.
So their quarterback, his name is Jacob Clark. Yeah. He's the returning starter. He's a transfer from the University of Minnesota. Talk to Sam Herder, just because he knows, Missouri Valley a whole lot better than, we do. He said, Jacob Clark can really sling the ball. So expect, our cornerbacks to get tested that way. They like to do a lot of short passes too. I was watching them play South Dakota State last year. A lot of over the middle, a lot of quick passes as well.
Well, in that game too, they read a lot of empty. They just have the quarterback back there, which can be good for our D line to tee off on. But again, it's going to test that secondary, which
and a lot of things that they like to do with their quarterback, they're going to get killed with the Grizz. They like to actually have their quarterback kind of run out to the right or the left and throw the ball. I just think if you do that, you're going to get hit by a linebacker real good. So, Jacob Clark last year, 66 of 105, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a little over 1,000 yards. Only had played 4 games in 2023. So, and then you've got.
We expect him to be the starter.
We expect him to be because their next guy that has had any type of experience. His name's Brock Bagosi. He's a transfer from Marist. And so I really do think that they'll probably play Jacob Clark. Just because that's all. And that's going to be really hard. Not to say anything against the Missouri Valley, but throwing that guy into Blackout in Missoula, first game of the year, it's going to be loud. People are going to be lit.
At the same time, though, they have played, they have to play North Dakota State. They have to play South Dakota State. So, Washington Grizz is Washington Grizz.
It is.
But still, they're used to playing teams in our caliber.
Oh, yeah, they are. So it's just not the stadium-wise. No. It's not the same. It's running back for them. They've got Jacardi Wright. He is their leading rusher coming back. He's a transfer out of Kansas State. Last year, he was 147 carries, 696 yards, 6 touchdowns with an average about 69 yards a game.
So he just got voted he got put on the Reese's Senior Bowl watch list. Same with Junior and Cole. So I was surprised with that because, like you said, they like to throw the ball a lot. But he's on the watch list. I mean, he's 6 foot 220. The dude's a horse. So 4.7 yards a carry last year.
So that's what I'm thinking. Last year, what they also did with their running back is they would have an open field, but then they would have him back there too, and they would fake like they were going to pass it and then just hand it off when the lanes were open.
And he also is the preseason All Missouri Valley Conference too. So, but with that too, if you watch that South Dakota State film that both of us watched, their offensive line, they like to do a lot of pulling and moving and stuff around. So they'll do trap plays and counter plays and stuff like that, where they're trying to catch you off guard. The thing that I think could throw them off, and just because, especially when you get teams like the Missouri State, who's never played our 3-3-5 defense that we have, that's different, that could throw them off a little bit because we got guys coming in and out all over the place, and so for an offensive line,
the stunting that we do as
well, but the stunting we do, it's hard to get that offensive line. And that's one thing I saw at practice is like we're again stunting all over the place, which helps our defense and makes it hard for an old line to go, that's your assignment. No, that is. Next thing you know, they're blocking the wrong person, and we have someone free, like a Riley Wilson who's blowing it up, or a Terrell who's blowing it up.
Wide receiver. This is kind of the area where I did not get the Missouri Valley. They have an honorary mention with Jamare Robinson. He's got 45 catches last year, 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, 45-yard average. But he was not their primary focus last year. They lost their good wide receiver. They had a lot on Missouri State, and this is nothing to like. It's not all about preseason awards, but they had a lot of honorary mention type guys, and their punter was one of their preseason All-Americans, and when your punter is your best guy getting awards, that's probably not a good thing.
Punts it really deep or he punts a lot. One of the two.
A lot, because his average is really high.
So that's the other thing too with like this is with every team. There's so many transfers. Like you said, 17 transfers. So it's like how many of those guys are going to be playing right now that we just don't know about? I mean, it's hard because like you and I watched last year's film, and it's like, okay, that can give us a little bit, but like, there's nothing on him this year. That's why I'm excited. After the first week of games, it's like, okay, now I can watch get a little film on and find some stuff out. But it's hard. So.
Well, and just going back, like I had to have my screen on when I was watching. I had to go back from last year's roster to this year's roster to check numbers, to check people.
Who's that guy?
It just takes a whole lot more. I spent a lot of time. Hunter Wood is their next guy that is returning, that has had the notable yardage. 27 catches last year, 372 yards, 5 touchdowns, average above about 33 in average. So I would expect them to throw, probably not as much as they did last year with their returning running back. But I do think that they're going to throw a lot more, but not where they were last year.
I agree with you. I think like when you have a running back that's on the Reese's Senior Bowl watch list, I'm going, okay, are you going to pound the rock more? And and maybe because their head coach Ryan Beard, this is his second season, so maybe last year when he came in, he's like, well, here's what I got.
Exactly.
We're gonna just use what we got, like a good coach would. And so maybe his philosophy is more of that, ground and pound that you see out of that Missouri Valley, and maybe we will see them run the ball more. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see for sure.
I went into their punter guys. Grant Burkett, punter of the year. His average was about 43.97. He had 11 punts that were over 50 yards.
That's pretty good.
He had 5 that were in the inside of the 20. They don't have any returning kicker. They don't have any punt returning. They have 2 kick returners, Jaden Becks, which he averaged about 18.5 average, which is a running back that they have back there. And then their wide receiver, Devontae Key, he was about 17, a little over 17 in average. So, and then they have, I think they have Caden Bowles. Their long snapper is a preseason All-American too. So,
we've had a few good long snappers in the past. So
well, Grayson's a great one too. So that we have Pybel. That's their kind of their offense, their special teams.
Speaking of offense, I got one other thing for you. I found was interesting because I didn't know this. Nick Petrino is their offensive coordinator, who happens to be son of Bobby Petrino, who used to be the head coach. So, it'll be interesting to see, what Nick has for us, because if it was up to him, I think they will throw the ball more. So, Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I didn't know that. I was like, oh, I saw Petrino because we have Petrinos back, in Montana too. I mean, that's a football name. But this Nick is actually, the son of Bobby Petrino, who was at one time the head coach there. So
cool. And they have ties in Idaho too, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They
do.
Do.
I just broke my pen. Sorry.
Well, that's all right. We're about to go to defense. Their defensive coordinator is LD Scott. I didn't get a lot on him, but that's who their defense.
Why does that name sound familiar? Huh? I don't know.
He's been there for a few years though. So.
Is it? Okay. I was like, wow, that name sounds really familiar. Defense. Notable guys that they've got coming back, guys. Their leading tackler that's coming back is a safety, Todrick McGee. He's a preseason second-team defensive back. 102 tackles last year, 2 tackles for loss, a half a sack, and 2 interceptions. Second leading tackler coming back is Taj Chambers, a linebacker. He did get honorary mention, 54 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss. And then Avery Powell, another honorary mention, 50 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. Another guy that I kind of mentioned, he's kind of farther down the returning of their starters, but defensive line, Darian Smith, he's a second-team guy, 37 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. So definitely a guy on the defensive line to kind of just keep eyes on. That's all I had for you guys on the defense.
Oh, I got one more for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I found this. I was doing a little Springfield research, and there's a guy that the local papers are high on this year. Number 1 DB he's number 1 on his jersey. I'm not saying he's the number 1 DB they have, but PJ Hall is who they talked about a lot.
Okay.
In the paper. They think he's going to be a difference maker. In 23, he had 62 total tackles, 2 interceptions, 9 pass breakups, and 1 forced fumble. And he's 6'3", 205, playing safety for him.
Wow.
So I was like,
big safety.
Yeah, he's a big safety. So that's the one guy that I was like that apparently the local Springfield area, and I talked to one of my buddies who lives down there. He said too that he's been kind of the talk of who they think is going to be kind of one of their breakout stars this year. I mean, he's a senior, but they think he's going to be really, really good for them this year.
Yeah, 6'3" as a safety. That's pretty tall for a safety. So, guys, it's kind of hard to, and like we've mentioned this, it's kind of hard to give you guys numbers of what's going to happen without them playing. This was not a good defense last year. They're going to bring in guys, like we've said, that are in the FBS level. So it could be entirely different, or it could be worse. We would just never know.
And they run a base 4-3 defenses. It was what you'll see. One thing that I noticed, like with South Dakota State watching that, is like when those guys ran double moves on their corners and stuff, they got open. Yeah. So I was watching that going, with the talent that we have at tight end and wide receiver.
Yep.
If we wanted to, we could. I feel like throw the ball on these guys. Like,
South Dakota State's wide receivers were open a lot.
Yeah,
a lot, and it wasn't just like quick routes; it was long passes downfield.
Yeah.
So guys, that's what we've got for Missouri State. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Just with what they have coming back, they're transferring into FBS. I know that Luke and I were talking about it before the podcast. They're not going to quit. They do have something to play for. That, as far as I know, they can still play for the Missouri Valley Conference title.
I think so. They can play for that title, but they can't play in the playoffs.
They can't play for the national. Yeah. So they're going to try to spoil our season. They would love to, get a loss the opening game and throw us in a tizzy.
Yeah. I guarantee their coaches are like, it's Washington Grizzly. It's a blackout game. We're going to go up. We need to go up there and upset them. And, that's what I mean. If I was their coach, we'd tell them that stuff. Like, it's what an opportunity to have to ruin our season.
Yeah.
And then for them, because of where we're at, like, just springboard them,
Yep.
So, yeah. I mean, by no means is this like a cakewalk, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
no,
we should beat this team. Like, we look better on paper and stuff, and I feel like, especially in Washington Grizzly, it's our home record right now is 230-35. So the stats are leaning our way, but we can't obviously overlook these. No way is our team doing that? I mean, I'm sure they're so sick of hitting each other they can't wait to get and tee off on the little Bears here.
Battle of the Bears.
Yep.
All right. Well, you want to do your scout or your players of the year for defense, offense?
Well, I'm not ready for offense yet, but I got my defense.
Okay.
My defensive player that I think is going to have just like a breakout year. I mean, he's already a good player, but I think is just like could possibly be on like the Buck Buchanan Award watch list later on is Ryan Terrell. I think we're going to see him emerge as the leader on the defense, especially in that linebacker area, and he is just gonna. I mean, we're gonna be going. Did you see what he did this weekend? I mean, I got this feeling that he is really gonna just wreak some havoc out there. So
okay. I'm going the unusual route. I'm going kind of on a limb right now. I'm going RB, man. RB Wilson.
Oh, nice. I like it.
I'm going to go the newcomer. I think he's going to blow it up. I've heard some things, and I just think that with that kind of a guy coming in and playing JUCO and then coming in here and having those injuries, I think he's going to be hungry, and I can't wait to see what he does. So I have a feeling that your offensive player and my offensive player are going to be the same thing.
So I guess I got two kind of.
Okay.
Like I've got one that's probably the same as yours, but then I have another one. So
Okay.
I was curious who was going to be snapping the ball, and it looks like it's Liam Brown.
Okay.
He looked really good at practice, calling out blocking assignments and stuff. And so I think we're going to see him break out as a leader on the offensive line and
awesome
lead our offensive line this year and just be that pillar that we need that center position to be.
Well, that's my other question for you. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
But, like when you were there, like that's been what we have been talking about on texts and calls, and then also on here, like that's been the kind of the warning of, hey, we think we know what our quarterback is, but before we even talk about the quarterback, that's probably the most integral part of a offense is that center.
Yeah.
I've heard of 3 guys trying to go for it. You think it's going to be Liam? I've heard of McCabe's there, and I think
he took all the number one snaps. Liam did.
Okay.
Practice when I was watching, and looked good at it. I mean, like there was no I mean, and he was commanding that position. I mean, you can tell he wants it.
Awesome.
So I could see that. Now I've heard we're rotating a lot of. We got a lot of offensive line that can play. Yeah. And so we're going to be rotating guys through, which is good to keep them healthy. And again, finding that cohesive unit. But that center position, that's one that, you don't usually rotate a lot because you get that exchange. So I think we'll see Liam Brown, stronghold that unless we're blowing somebody out, then they're probably going to, get people experience, put those guys in. Yeah. But during the heart of the game, I think we're going to see him as a center. And I think he's going to it feels like he fits the position well and has accepted it. And is kind of leading that whole group. And so no matter who's going to be in there filling in the guard and the tackle positions, like I think Casey's going to be there all the time. But like Panfilov, he can jump around. There's a lot of these guys can move around. And so I think what we'll see is Brown in there just, keeping that whole thing going and kind of being the conductor of our offensive line. And so he's my player. I think we're going to see breakout at the center position. But I have also the fancy position too, but I'll let you go ahead and go first. So
okay, my offensive player, Cole Grossman.
Okay, that was my second. It was Cole. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Cole Grossman.
I think that whatever quarterback that we settle on, that is going to be their security blanket. I think that you're going to see him in different ways that we're going to use him. I think you're going to see him in his tight end, right? But I also think that we're going to use him outside the box like a wide receiver where you're going to put him against a linebacker and say,
he's no Travis Kelce.
Try to guard this guy. Try.
Just try. Yeah.
Just try. And I think if we don't use him that way, it is a disservice to this guy that we need to be using him this way.
That would be such a miss. And with with Pease back there and Linehan is the analysis. I mean, this the minds that we have on offense. It's if you see that, it's like, Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What can we can put you're playing chess with like a superset versus everybody else. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think
We're over here
that's
playing 3D chess and everybody else is playing regular chess.
exactly. So those are mine.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think that's. Oh man.
So I'll give one more shout out to the D line. I also think Pat Hayden's going to have a big year this year. Like,
I think so
he's
too.
new. I think that's going to be. I mean, he's a transfer senior, but that D tackle position. I mean, I know he's not Govs, but I think we're going to see him really, really do well this year.
I think so too. I think he's going to be a guy that solidifies that position and may not be the Gubs that we're used to, but I think he's going to do a fine job.
He's going to keep that 99 number busting through there and wrecking stuff. So
that's right. All right, you want to do some over unders, man?
I got one more thing before.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
So just something that popped up this week, and I just thought it was really cool. The Grizz season tickets, another program record, 18,816 season tickets sold.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So awesome. I mean, so if every one of you can go get one of these Blackout shirts, that's 18,000 people wearing black already. I mean, that's where I got some of the stats. I was reading that, and it's, the Grizz are 230 and 35 at home since 1986, and 33-7 in the playoff games. Bobby himself is 88 and 11 at home. I mean, the advantage we have in that stadium, and to see 18,816 season tickets sold. I mean, there's so many other FCS programs that would just love to have that many people at their game.
Yep.
And we have that many season holders. So bravo, Grizz Nation. Way to step up. That's awesome. I had QB Club tonight too. I think they said our number's at 667 members.
Jeez,
goal is to get to 700. Crazy. So, it's totally worth it. You get a lot of extra stuff like this year too, where we've been getting behind the scenes podcasts like from Riley, but doing player interviews that are really cool. If you want to see them, you got to become part of QB Club. There's also gifts. There's just a lot of extra stuff, and you get to see Houck in a different light and just all this information. It's totally worth it. So if you're interested and you want to know more about it, hit me up. I'd be glad to talk to you about QB Club, but sign up. It helps the team so much. In fact, I can say this. Botner was there tonight, the president, thanking us
awesome.
And just saying like how much he appreciates it and just letting everybody know like how much it helps, not just football, but everything. It's just the whole athletic department. So I mean, yeah, as soon as we start winning like this and making national championships, next thing you know, new things start getting built on campus. Like we're getting a new dorm room and stuff. And I guess the new mess hall, it used to be the old food zoo. Okay. I saw a video on that. And if you haven't seen the video, you can go on the university's Twitter page or X page. They got like a fly through of it, and it's like state of the art. Like it is
really
amazing. So yeah, I mean things are looking good for the old University of Montana right now.
That's awesome, and I think it's just going to continue to do that as well. So
yeah,
awesome. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready. I am ready for the over unders.
Okay, well, I was just putting one number. I thought I had it here, but all right. Sorry, I'm just trying to. All right, over and under. Okay. Punt return touchdowns for the season. 2.5. Over or under. Yep.
I'm going over.
I would say over too.
That seems. I feel like that's low. I mean, I know that everybody's scared of Junior, but that's low.
I think that's low, but if they're not kicking to Junior, where are you going to? It's just not kick returns. I'm just saying punt returns.
Punt returns, yeah, still.
Yep.
Yeah.
And on the season last year, he had 3 total on the season.
I'm still taking the over.
Okay, I would.
The whole team, right? It's not just Junior; it's the whole team.
No, that's the whole team. It's the whole team.
I'm taking the over because we can have Fonts back there, somebody too, and I'm taking the over. I'll take 3. I think it's over 2.5.
Okay, I was taking the same thing. Over 800-yard rushers. Okay, 800-yard rushers, 1.5.
I'm going to take the under.
You're going to take the under?
And here's why.
Okay.
We have too many.
I know.
rushers. It's like we got to distribute the ball. That's why I'm taking the under. Like
Okay.
if we just let's say we just had Eli Gilman and they were like, man, we don't have anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, okay. Then I would, or we just had Eli and
Eli and Rocker.
no, oh my goodness, scored the touchdown to get us
Osmo?
37. Osmo, sorry, blanking on
No,
it.
it's okay.
Yeah,
It's
if we just
okay.
had
Hey,
him
we
and
all do it, man.
Osmo, I might say over, but because we have Rocker and we've got Osmo and Gilman and X, and I mean, it is stacked.
Oh yeah.
That's why I'm going to take the under on that.
Okay. So. I would say I want to say over, but I'm going to say under too, just because I think that we have 3 or 4 guys that could probably take some of those carries away.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much QB run we're going to be doing.
Which we let them last year.
And if we let them, so I would say under. I want to say over, but my gut is telling me under.
And then we have so many receivers. We might be just chucking the ball too.
Exactly.
It's like we have so many weapons. That's why I think it's going to be harder to have multiple 800-yard rushers.
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Points per game. 33.5 points. Over or under?
That's an average. Oh man.
Do you want some help?
Hang on.
As a team last year, we were just above 30.
I'm gonna take the over. I'm taking the over.
I'm
taking the over.
I would say over that. Over that.
I feel like we have more weapons this year, and
yep.
Yeah, I feel like we struggled last year to find our identity on offense. I don't think we're going to have that hard a time finding our identity on offense this year.
No.
So.
Average yards a game, 395. Over or under?
On offense?
Yep.
Over.
I would say over as well. Okay.
Just because of the our receivers and running backs. Yep. Like I feel like if they shut one side down, like let's just devil's advocate. Let's say that we play a team that has amazing corners and they can shut our receivers down. Well, guess what? We're gonna pound the rock, and vice versa. If they're gonna shut our running backs down, well, we're gonna just throw it all over you. We're not gonna see teams that could possibly shut both down. I mean, until we get in the Big Sky Conference or playoffs. So,
yep. All right, sacks a game, or sacks a year. Okay. Over or under 35 sacks this season?
That's a lot. Hang on.
That's the number from last year. 35 is what we had last year.
I'm over. We're taking over.
I love how you're so positive.
I'm taking the over. I was telling you those guys are flying around the defense. They're fast. We're going to average 3.5 sacks a game.
You're making stuff drop off my desk. Holy cow.
We're going to average 3.5 sacks a game.
Dang. Really?
I'm calling it. I'm writing it down.
Okay.
3.5. At the end of the season, we'll average 3.5 sacks a game.
Woo. Okay. I'm going to say under that. And this is why. I think
I'm a defensive guy, though. I'm taking the over on that.
I know. But I'm just saying I think that there's going to be a lot more interceptions than there are sacks.
Okay, I'll take that.
Okay.
If that's the case, that's
what I'm going off of.
Right on.
Okay, I'm leading that into that. Interceptions for the year, 17.5.
I'm taking the under.
I'm taking the over.
All right.
We had 17 last year.
I hate that I just took the under.
I know, right?
I hate it, but I'm taking the under. Because I took the over on the sacks, I'll take the under on that.
Okay.
I hope I'm wrong on that one. I hope you're wrong on the sacks. I hope I'm wrong on the interceptions.
I'm not writing these down, but hey, we can go back and check if we're right.
Watch it. We got this recorded.
That's right. Tackles for loss, over under 95.
Ooh. 95.
95. We were at 88 last year.
Ooh, I'm taking the over.
I would take the over there too.
Yeah, because of our linebackers and the way our defense forms. Because that's not just like running backs back there. They throw it to the flat and we tag them for loss. That counts for 2. So yeah, it's I like the over on that one for sure.
Okay,
especially if we're going to get 3.5 sacks a game. Those count as tackling for loss too. So
I've got a couple more here. Okay.
All right.
Passing touchdowns.
Okay.
Over or under 18?
Over.
I'm saying over big time.
Yeah, over. That seems low.
Okay. I think that
we have a wide receiver and tight end.
Exactly.
And running back too. Like our guys can catch the ball out of the backfield. So.
Okay. Oh, I don't want to use that number though. Okay. Well, that's gonna be an easy one, but I think it's gonna be drastically down. Okay, so last year, over or under rushing touchdowns? Over or under 32?
Oof. Oh. Over. I'll take the over. I'll take the over. We're going to score a lot of points this year. I'll take the over.
I'm saying under on that one.
Taking the over. We'll get that,
we're just going over everything.
We're going to pound the rock. Over. Over.
I love it. Oh, man. Okay, I got one more, okay?
All right.
Passing yards. Okay?
Over.
I love it.
Because it's gonna be low. You're gonna be like, oh, like I don't know. Give me what you're gonna say.
Okay. Over or under 3,000 passing yards.
Over. Yeah, we'll have 3,500. We're gonna have 3,500 passing yards. I'm telling you right now, 3,500. We have too much talent.
I think so.
They're gonna let Kaylee sling the ball like Brian did.
I love your
sling that thing around the field.
I think Luke is ready to go run through a wall and go play some football.
Let's
man.
Go! I can't wait for Saturday. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, it is. All right, you want to do some predictions, man?
Did we have any questions?
I did not have any questions on Twitter, and I forgot to put it out on eGriz.
Well,
let me go check.
We should. I didn't see any on Twitter either, but. I did want to give a shout out to somebody you sent me on eGriz, Lone Grizz. Just had some nice comments for Adam about how they enjoy the pod. They're from Havre up there on the High Line. Yeah. And we really appreciate the fact that they listen to our pod on their way to the Grizz games.
Exactly.
Just, that's so cool. Like I shared that with my wife. She's like, that's pretty dang cool. I was like, that is because Adam and I do this for fun.
Yeah.
And like we enjoy the heck out of it, obviously. You can tell, but I mean, it really means a lot to us when you let us know, like, hey, you enjoy it too. It's like, oh, okay, we're doing something right. When I read that, it made me even more fired up. And next thing you know, I was taking a bunch of notes. Like I was like, hey, man, like people appreciate this. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So, big time shout out to Lone Grizz.
Exactly. We really appreciate you guys. Like we do this because we love it, but it also just makes us drive even more to just kind of do more. And just someone that would want to listen to us. It totally makes our day. And hopefully we can make it to a game and we can have a beer or something with you guys and meet you guys in person because that's truly an honor for you guys to say those things. So definitely.
I know last year I met a few of our listened to us when I was in Frisco and I was like, this is so cool. Just I thanked them and we really appreciate it. So thank you, Lone Grizz.
It means a lot, guys. So you ready for prediction time, man?
Dude, you know what?
What's the verses app? You got verses app?
Like, man, I'm falling down here. I forgot to do that today. Good Lord. I'm like, I'm falling behind here. So let's look at this here real quick too, because I forgot to do this. Let's look at rankings. So versus right now has us sitting 4th in the rankings.
Okay.
Which
so who's ahead of us?
Surprises me. They got South Dakota State is number 1.
Okay.
Then they have their power ranking is 1, offense is 1, defense is 1. They have North Dakota State is 2, power ranking 2, offense 2, defense 5. The thing I do not agree with is they have Montana State is 3.
Oh, hell no.
I don't think this is updated because it still says that the record is 0-0.
There's no
They're
way that
showing
that
against
team
New
is,
Mexico. Yeah,
no,
we're not going to talk about them jackholes.
no.
They have us sitting at 4th. Power 5, offense 16, defense is 4. I think the reason our offense is 16 is the question that the QB.
The QB, yeah.
I mean, everybody assumes Ayat's going to be the guy, but it's kind of a prove it situation. So, I'm just going to read off the rest of the top 10 according to Versus. They got University of South Dakota at 5, Villanova 6, Furman 7, Sac State at 8, Southern Illinois, the Salukis at 9, and UND at 10.
Really?
Yeah, which surprised
Wow.
me. And then Idaho's sitting at 11. So, yeah,
I don't think South Dakota's going to be that good this year. I think they're overrated this year.
Yeah, people out here don't think that either. I mean, it's like the people keep talking about us, the Bison, and the Jacks.
Yeah,
and they were talking about the neighbors until, well, I mean, they won, but they shouldn't have won this weekend. So
there's so many people. There's some people down here that are Cat fans, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we won," and it's like, I don't think you should be proud of that game. Like, you barely won.
So the way I put it is, they didn't really win that game.
No,
Mexico lost that game. Like
they let them win that game.
They don't know how. I mean, the poor New Mexico. They're ranked out of all FBS. They're ranked 130th out of 133 FBS teams.
133.
The Cats were favored by 13.5 going into that game. They should have beat the piss out of them.
I heard it was 14.5, but
it may have rolled up to 14.5 for the game started. So, it's nothing. I'd be, oh yeah, we beat an FBS team. Yeah, okay.
I think they should drop in the polls because of that. That's ridiculous. If you're up over 2 touchdown favorite on an FBS team, and you're down by 17 points or something like that in the first half, and you score a touchdown with 10 seconds left, that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So, all right, I ran the numbers here for Versus. So I got them. All right. So what the numbers are according to Versus, they have the Grizz winning 30-22.
30-22?
Yeah. Which blows me away. Because like our overall rankings according to Versus is we're number 73, like out of all football teams. Oh. And Missouri State is on 191. So I'm like, where are they getting these numbers?
30-22.
Yeah, that's what Versus says. So
that's whack.
Again, remember last year, they were wrong all the time.
They were all,
That's their number. Let me put yours down here, Adam. Missouri State. Oops. And then me. All right, you want to go first or you want me to go first?
You won last year, which I owe you like a 6-pack of your favorite beer.
Oh,
you tore up. Let's see, last year it was you won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it was 8-5. So you obliterated me. I did not write down the NDSU scores or the national championship scores. So
we won't talk about the national championship.
Yeah. So. I've got 35-7.
35-7. All right.
So.
Well, we're close.
Oh, okay. Dang
it. I've got 40-17, Grizz.
40-17. Okay.
Hey, yeah, we got to keep up with that scoring average. We got 3,500 yards, 3,500 passing yards to get here. So
33.5 is that. So we're both over that, right? So 33.5 points per game. Goodness, that's a lot of points.
40-17. Hell yeah.
35-7. Okay.
I feel like my 17 is too high. Like
I think that's too high, but
so yeah, and where I'm getting the 17 is here's where my mind's at with this.
Okay.
They run back a punt or a kickoff by just a happenstance.
Okay.
Ayat throws a pick 6 by mistake.
Ooh.
The only thing that their offense gets is a field goal. So really our defense only gives up 3 points. But I think there's going to be 2 other like just mistake type learning touchdowns from us, or one of those is a late one because we're blowing them out and we got the 2s in or something.
Yeah.
That's why I got 17. I think in all reality, our defense is only going to give up 3.
Okay. Interesting.
So that's where I came up with that 17.
All right. Well, we will see, guys. We will see. Let us know. Send us your guys' predictions on the score. We want to hear from you guys. Let us know on Twitter at Fight on Montana. You guys can find us on Facebook as well. Look us up, Adam and Luke, up on Facebook. So
or Instagram too. We're on there too. So
Instagram as well. Fight on Montana on there as well. I can't wait, man. I can't wait for some football.
Yeah, it's going to be – I'm pumped for this game this weekend. So I'm actually camping, and I've got it already set up. Yeah. I'm going to have the TV up. We got Wi-Fi ready to go. And so, like, I'm going to invite as many people camping around that want to watch the Grizz play. So the last time I did this was when we beat Washington.
Oh, no way.
In Washington.
Oh, my gosh.
Freaking TV set up, all that. I mean, we were screaming and yelling at the fire going. It was awesome. So I'm hoping for the same type of, I hope we just blow them out, but same type of thing. Night games in the campground, awesome. So
that is awesome. That is awesome. Unfortunately, I will not be watching the game. I'll be watching it on Sunday. So my phone will be off for like 2 days so I can watch the game without getting the score. So yeah, I will not have wireless on our camping trip. So bummer me. So
if you're trying to ask questions during the game, just hit me up instead.
Yeah, just hit Luke up because I probably won't answer this week. Yeah. But I would still love to see him on Twitter and Instagram, guys, just to see the interaction, and I will interact with you just probably a day after. But yeah, can't wait, guys. Remember, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, guys. That helps us out tremendously, especially on Apple. We've got a couple more reviews on there from last week, so always good.
The lone Grizz family drive safe from Havre.
Exactly.
The game, drive safely. So
exactly, guys. Until next week, go Grizz and be safe out there.
Heck yeah, go Grizz.